Hey guys, welcome back to another Aussie Buckets installation and operational guide. My name's Aidan, and today I'm joined with Sam.
Hey, I'm Sam, the National Service Manager for Aussie Buckets.
And today we're going to be talking about the install for our tilt rotator. Now we're going to cover the removal of your old hitch, the mechanical fit up of the tilt rotator, how to hook up the hydraulics, the electrical, as well as the joysticks. Then we're going to go through some pre-operational checks, as well as a guide on how to operate the unit. Let's get into it.
First step, we've got to remove the retaining bolts and then push the pins out. Next up, we need to disconnect the hydraulic lines. We need to ensure there's no hydraulic pressure in these quick hitch lines. We can do that up the top by a decompression valve. Capping the hydraulic lines is important so debris doesn't get into your hydraulic system, but also when we need to move the excavator later, we're not going to leak any hydraulic oil. Next up, we're removing the pins from the tilt rotator, offering up the excavator, put the pins in to finish off the mechanical fitment. A nice flat hard stand would be ideal. Now the pins are out, get an operator in the machine. We'll line up the H-link first, put the pin in and then balance it to line up the dipper arm. The reason we do that is the weight distributing on the tilt rotator makes this easier for the install. Ensure all the surfaces are clean before we install. When fitting the tilt rotator, if there's any slop either side, you can use the shims provided. Now the tilt rotator's on, we can reinstate the quick hitch lines and we'll fit the hydraulic lines to the machine. If you plan on keeping it on the machine, we're going to hard mount it like we're doing. Alternatively, we can supply quick uppers. Now we're going to install the pilot control valve for the tilt rotator. This gets signalled from the control unit to control the hydraulics down to the tilt rotator. We're about to mount this valve up in here, but it's not a good spot, so we're going to whip up a quick bracket. I'll give you a quick run through on what we've done on this machine. However, I recommend going to the manual where there's more detailed hydraulic diagrams. This is the pressure line going into the valve. This is the oil coming out of the valve going to the tank. And this is the hydraulic oil going to the main control valve. If you need further help with the hydraulic fit-up, please call our service hotline or check out the manual for detailed hydraulic diagrams. We've ran 2 wires from the solenoid valve back into the cab, 1 power and 1 earth. It's worth noting the excavator we've worked on today has got hydraulic auxiliary on the foot pedal. That's why we've mounted the valve underneath there. Some machines have auxiliaries on the joysticks. That means you've got an electronic control valve. If that is the case, what you'll do is mount the valve closer to the main control valve to make it easier. The valve will be hooked up the same way, but it will just be in the middle of the machine next to the control valve. Next up, we're doing the electrical connection from the tilt rotator back to the cab to the control unit. This end for the tilt rotator will locate somewhere near the auxiliaries here and then run this all the way back to the cab. It's best practice to line up your electrical with your auxiliary hydraulic hoses so we know there's plenty of clearance. Now we're at this stage, we're going to follow the machine wiring harness into the back of the cab. Now we've got the cable through, we can get to mounting the control unit. On this excavator, we've got a panel at the back here. We can pull that out and line up the bolts. Now the control unit is mounted up. It should look something like this. Let's chuck it in the cab. Now it's time to replace your OEM joysticks with your new ones. If they have a button or proportional toggle switch, just make sure they're disconnected at the back and then you can remove them and replace with your new one. Now we're ready to plug everything in. From the joysticks, there's 2 plugs. The smaller plug connects the proportional to the tilt rotator, and the bigger plug connects your spare switches to whatever you need. We've decided on this button here, and with the diagram provided, we can use the pink and white wire to reinstate the horn. Now the electricals are all installed, it's time to plug everything in. First up, we're going to connect the joysticks. Now for the harness from the tilt rotator, up the arm, into the cab and into the computer. Now for the solenoid valve. Now it's time to plug in the power. These units accept 12, 24 and 36 volts. We were lucky this machine had a spare power plug, so we've adapted and plugged it into there. Now it's time to tidy up the cables. We'd recommend leaving any covers off until after the unit's commissioned, just in case you need to do any troubleshooting.
All right, guys, that wraps up the main installation of the tilt rotator. Now, you might be pretty keen to jump at the machine and give it a go, but it's super important we go over some basic pre-operational checks. Number one, we're going to give the entire unit a grease. Number two, we're going to check for any hydraulic leaks during the installation, and then we're going to look for any collision events on the tilt rotator with the excavator and check if there's any hose snags or any hose pinch events.
To wrap up, we're just going to go through some operational and installation tips. At the control unit, it's a green flashing light. That means operation's okay. If you get any red flashing lights or anything else, there most likely is going to be a connection issue. Please make sure everything's plugged in and good earths all around. The joysticks have standardised thread sizes, however, your machine may differ. If you need any adapters, please call the service team and we'll express them out to you. The hydraulic kit comes with BSP standard fittings. If your machine doesn't have these or is imported, you may consider having a hydraulic expert on hand for installation.
All right, guys, that wraps up our installation and operational video for the tilt rotator. Now, we covered a lot of information in this video, so make sure you take the time to dive into it all.
Now, don't forget, we offer Australian-wide installation, and if you need any further help, you can give us a call.
Thanks for watching. Looking forward to seeing these on your machine.